Liking a video is still a form of feedback. It's not abuse just because you guys think you are above criticism.
It's feedback. Feedback is feedback at the end of the day. I don't understand this. The priorities are so screwed up. Hey guys, so before I start, if you see like random bits of hair like falling over my face, it's because I feather cut my hair today because it's so fucking thick. The UK heat at the moment, I can't deal with it. So I had to feather cut it because it's driving me crazy. Today's video is just a quick one. I wanted to talk about YouTube trying to remove the dislike button. This is something that Alfie Deyes spoke to Susan, the CEO of YouTube, about. And this was a couple of years ago. I think this was like maybe 2018, 2019. Alfie Deyes had an interview with the CEO of YouTube, Susan. It was so forced, wooden. Like, he's not an interviewer. I don't know why, of all people, Alfie Deyes was the person Susan chose to have a sit-down interview with. To me, that made no fucking sense, because Alfie Deyes was not at his prime. He used to be like the golden boy, kind of YouTube. He's not anymore. English vloggers are not what they used to be anymore. Like, people don't watch them like they used to. I think a lot of people who used to watch them have kind of grown out of that content, and people of that kind of age that used to be into that kind of content, they have like TikTokers that they like now, I feel like, rather than YouTubers, because it's like short, condensed videos. The audio in that video was fucking terrible. Considering you're interviewing the CEO of YouTube.
See camera Mark.
First of all, appreciate you coming down on your...
Alfie's gonna get mad that I disliked his video because of the terrible audio quality. Mine's not the best either, but I'm not interviewing the CEO of YouTube.
The audio was shit. Like, worse than my audio. And I use like a 70 quid microphone. And Alfie was dressed so casual.
He's meeting the CEO of YouTube and he's wearing shorts. As she's the CEO of YouTube, couldn't she sort of, kind of, if you tilt your head and squint a little bit, be sort of considered, in the loosest possible way of the term, our boss? Because we upload videos on this platform and she's the CEO. So technically, kinda. And he's wearing shorts. Alfie, mate, you do crack me up. Why don't you just wear Speedos next time?
I'm not saying he had to wear like a suit and tie, but he could have looked semi-presentable. He was sitting there, lounging out, mansplaining, trying to have a serious conversation with the CEO of YouTube. As you may or may not know, Alfie Deyes was in his prime, a big English vlogger. He's the boyfriend of one of the biggest English vloggers at the time, Zoella. And Alfie has had a shitload of controversies over his career. The biggest one being the £1 video. To be clear, loads of people have done the £1 challenge, but most of them do it to highlight how you can make things affordable. First time I ever saw it was when Emma Blackery did it. She highlighted that, you know, water isn't actually free. People who are on this kind of budget wouldn't necessarily be able to afford this, because you have to take this into account. You have to take into the account that she used her car. She should be taken into account that she's, you know, got the roof over her head and things like that. All of the proceeds to that video went to charity. So people like Tom Hiddleston have done this kind of challenge, but they do it to raise awareness. They don't do it as just it's such a cute little challenge. The way he went about it, it came off really snobby.
Sorry, just a quick one. Are personal trainers free or lower than £1? Well, I don't know, just throwing it out there. At the end of the day, I've never seen somebody spend so much money in a day whilst only spending £1, apparently.
I mean, for fuck's sake, he went to Waitrose of all places, which out of all of the UK supermarkets, you've got like Waitrose and Tesco's and Asda, Aldi, Lidl. You've got loads of these things. And he goes to Waitrose. Yeah, okay. Click for Taz has done quite a few of these kind of videos. And again, because she's a lot more down to earth, it doesn't come off snobby. This is what you could afford on a budget. This is how much you can afford on a budget, because a lot of people are in that sort of situation, especially from the pandemic. I know the £1 video was like 2018, way before the pandemic, don't get me wrong, but just highlighting the fact that those kind of budgeting videos, especially around the pandemic when lots of people were made redundant or struggling because their businesses were closed and things like that, was so important. Just being a little bit more aware would have gone a long way in that video. Alfie got a lot of backlash because of that video. He ended up taking it down. And I imagine the dislike ratio is probably really, really bad on that video. Because once people started picking that up, I imagine people that don't even watch Alfie Days went over and dislike bombed that video. Because I've been dislike bombed. In the interview with Susan, Alfie says he doesn't understand what the dislike button's there for.
What is the point of the dislike? Again, I don't see any positive effect of having a dislike unless you honestly believe that when somebody presses dislike it's because they don't actually enjoy the video. Which I personally don't think anybody has ever used that button before. Is there a purpose for the dislike button? Is it actually useful? There's no benefit from having it.
Right, Alfie, you're going to have to stay with me here for about like a few seconds whilst I explain this to you. I know it's a difficult concept to conceptualise, but deep breaths, come on man, stay with me. The point of a dislike button on YouTube is so you can show that you dislike the video, you absolute wet wipe. Disliking a video is still a form of feedback. It's not abuse just because you guys think you are above criticism.
It's feedback. He thinks of it as like he's being bullied. Someone doesn't like my video. If you don't like it, just click off it. Why do I need to have your feedback? Feedback is feedback at the end of the day. That's why you've got comments, that's why you got the dislike and the like button. I always say, I'm saying at the end of my videos, if you didn't like it, press the dislike button. Because at the end of the day, it's feedback. Like, you're welcome to give it to me. The only thing I would say that would be helpful, even for the likes, give someone the option of why did you dislike it? Because it could be that you didn't like the pacing, you didn't like the creator themselves, you didn't like the audio, you didn't like the subject matter. The person won't necessarily put a comment in the comments to say why you didn't like the video. So I feel like that might be more helpful, because if it was that my audio was fucked up and I didn't realise and someone was like, yeah, I didn't like it because of XYZ, and I'd be like, right, I need to work on that for next time. But if it was literally just, I don't like this person, well, okay, that's fine, that person's not for me. And now, YouTube has been talking about for a little while, they're considering, or they're trialling, removing the dislike button. That is just for these pretentious little so-and-sos. All they want to hear is the good feedback. They don't want to hear the negative feedback whatsoever. For me, like I said, feedback is feedback at the end of the day. If I get a lot more likes than dislikes, am I going to ignore the dislikes? Yeah, probably, because like I said, I have no idea why they necessarily disliked the video. But if I get more dislike than likes, I'll be like, okay, there was something clearly wrong with this video. Maybe people just really didn't like the subject matter or the way I dealt with the subject, and I need to take some responsibility for that. Feedback is feedback at the end of the day. Similar with what I said about Gabby Hanna, you don't have to do anything with the feedback that you get. It's completely up to you. You can take it as constructive or you can do nothing with it. YouTube put on Twitter that they were going to trial removing the dislike button. Recently, in my YouTube studio, some auto update happened through Apple, I noticed that I can't see the dislikes anymore on my YouTube studio. I only see the like and the comment, which was really disconcerting, because even if you click into the video in YouTube Studio, and even if you go into the analytics, you cannot see your dislike count at all. You have to go to the video itself on YouTube to see what the dislike count is. I don't understand this. There are so many problems with YouTube. I've made countless fucking videos about it. The Eugenia Cooney eating disorder thing, where and then she's flashing out underwear. She's a risk to so many young people that watch her. You've got compilation channels that just reuse the same content over multiple fucking channels, but they're allowed a 1 million subscriber plaque for some fucking reason. Family channels where these children are not being protected. Their privacy is not being protected because family channels make too much fucking money for YouTube that they'd even consider putting a proper law in place to make sure that these kids are protected from their fucking parents and wanting to make money. No. They would rather remove the dislike button, which is actual fucking feedback from people that watch your video. Their priorities are so screwed up. I have a feeling they're still going to remove the dislike button. Bigger YouTubers, like for instance, Logan Paul, Jake Paul, when all that shit was happening with them, I guarantee they would have loved to have the dislike button removed. So therefore, they didn't have to see the backlash of their actions, and therefore they could have still made money off that disgusting shit. People like Alfie Days, Ollie White, people like that who have been at the top of their sort of genre for a while, those are the people that are going to appreciate, oh yeah, I don't need to see the dislike button anymore. I guarantee if you even asked PewDiePie, he would probably say that the dislike button does not need to be removed because it's feedback at the end of the day. I genuinely can't imagine more like down-to-earth creators saying that removing the dislike button is a good idea. I appreciate the dislike button doesn't mean that not necessarily recommended as much. You can get dislike bombed if something happens. My video was picked up on Twitter. My video around Keemstar's response around oral rape, that went from like 70 views to 700 views within like the span of 12 hours. I literally woke up and saw it had like peaked. And I was like, what the fuck? My videos are more like gradual than that. I couldn't figure it out. I searched my name on Twitter. I searched my name and Keemstar's name on Twitter. So I wasn't being linked to it, so I didn't realise. I searched the link itself of the video in Twitter, and all of these comments popped up where Keemstar had deleted the tweet around that video at the start of my video where he says that he doesn't understand how someone could get orally raped. Like, how is that possible? Can't you just close your mouth? That's literally what he says.
How does that happen? I like, what? Wouldn't she have to open her mouth and like participate in some way for that to happen? Like, can't you just turn your head, or can't you just get like, is there some way to force oral sex? I don't understand the physics here. Like, I don't understand how that's possible. Like, why? Like, can't you get away? Is there really no way to get away? Is there really no way to just close your mouth?
And people had obviously searched YouTube, found my clip is right at the front of my video, and used that as evidence to say, oh, Keemstar, did you delete this tweet then? Ain't this you? I honestly just found it kind of funny. But obviously all of Keemstar's fanatic little followers came and dislike bombed my video. And at the end of the day, it's someone they look up to. If they don't want to listen to me, if they want to dislike my video, that is completely up to them. I'm not necessarily going to take that as constructive criticism because I know that they're kind of biased around Keemstar. To be fair, I'm biased against Keemstar because I don't like the guy. Maybe that's why they didn't like the video and they disliked it, because I was clearly biased and hated the fucker. Who knows? Dislikes, you know, they can work for you and they can work against you, but at the end of the day, it's feedback. If you want to use it, you can. If you don't, if you want to ignore it, that's completely up to you. But people are allowed to have their opinion on your content, which is why we have the comments. And people that turn off the comments are cowards because they clearly want no feedback from anyone that watches the video, in which case you shouldn't be putting out content. If you liked the video, give it a like. If you didn't, give it a dislike while it's there. Who knows when it's going to be fucking removed. If you enjoyed the content, please make sure to subscribe. And I don't normally say it, but make sure to hit the notification bell, because when I checked my alternate account, my video was not in the recommended videos. If you want to make sure you see my videos, make sure to hit the notification bell below. I hope you enjoyed the video and I hope to see you all in the next one. Bye!